Welcome to the RavensSpace on YouTube. My name is Jason, and this is RavensSpace Daily, where we talk about Baltimore Ravens news every single weekday. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll hop right into our 3 great news stories and our first time doing a mailbag question at the end of the episode, so stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe for more great Baltimore Ravens content. Also, just to give you guys a head up, we've added something to the screen. If you can see at the top of the screen, there's a ticker that shows you the date, and it shows you the different social media channels that you guys can follow and different things like that. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And if you follow those, we post content there that's exclusive there. So if you want to see that cool stuff, we do things like quotes from Ravens players, Throwback Thursday. We post the news in social media biteable form. So if you want to see it, you should go and watch it and, subscribe, and we'll subscribe back. So, and we'll get to the news for the day. So thank you guys so much. And the first news story comes from the NFL Network, NFL.com, and it's the summer subplots, right? So each year, every team has a certain story that people want to know, what's going to happen. So they went through every single team and they found a story for each team. And for the Ravens, the story is whether they can get anything out of their former high offensive picks to help them in the passing game. So they point out 2 players in particular. So I'll read it to you right now. The first one is Breshad Perriman. Breshad Perriman was supposed to be the low-cost, high-talented vertical replacement for Torrey Smith. It feels like Perriman, who was taken 26 overall in the draft 2 years ago, has barely seen the field. And then they talk about Max Williams. They say tight end Max Williams, taken 29 picks later, has gotten off to an even slower start. While showing some promise in his freshman year, Williams was shut down in October with a knee problem after not catching any footballs. So they're very disappointed in them, and they want to know whether the Ravens can make anything out of them. And so, for my opinion, I think both of them can make an impact. I think that, in particular, Breshad Perriman has to step up and be a playmaker for this team. Because of the lack of depth there, he's going to be a starter. And not only is he going to be a starter, I really think that he has a chance of being the one receiver. A lot of people think Mike Wallace. I think Mike Wallace has a limited skill set and he doesn't have the potential that Perriman has. So I think that Perriman could easily be the one in this offense. And so he needs to really shine and become a star player. And for Max Williams, I think he can make an impact. I think we have 2 old tight ends on the roster. Well, not old, but older. One of them is old. Watson is old. Ben Watson is old. Pitta is older, and, he had a lot of injuries. So we don't know what his career is going to pan out to. But you have 3 other tight ends, including Max Williams, who are on the roster that you have to give a chance to. And one of them is my dark horse tight end. I'm going to tell you guys it has to do with the mailbag question, but I think Max Williams can be a good player for the Ravens, especially when Ben Watson and Pitta, leave the team or decide not to play anymore. So let me know what you think about those 2 players in the comments below. And the next news story of the day comes from BaltimoreRavens.com. And it's about Michael Campanaro. And then it says, while Michael Campanaro believes he's ready for a breakout year. Now, Campanaro is one of my favorite players. He actually went to high school with one of my friends, and which is pretty cool. And, when he was in high school, of course, they said he was the best player on the field, right? Because that's what happens. You're the best, and you're in your high school, and you're the best player there. And then you go to the NFL or whatever, and then you're just another guy. It's crazy how talented the NFL athletes are. But Michael Campanaro believes he can have a breakout year. And to be honest, it is made out for him to have a chance. Because after the first 2, after Perriman and Wallace, they're question marks, right? We don't know how good Moore is going to be. A lot of people like Chris Matthews. I'm a little not sold on Chris Matthews because he had a big game in the Super Bowl, and then the team that he had the big game for let him go, which worries me a little bit. But I think that he's good. I think if Camp can turn into a speedy slot receiver, he has all the chances in the world to make plays in this league. He has two chances to be great: special teams and offense. Special teams, he hasn't developed that big play yet that you see from the great returners, but I think he can get it. And on offense, all he has to do is string together some good slot games. I mean, to be a slot receiver, he can perform. He has a better body for a slot receiver than Chris Moore. He's built closer to the ground, more shifty, can run those quick slot routes. And I think that he has a real chance to break out. However, I do think the Ravens like Chris Moore better than they like him. I think the injury history makes the Ravens upset. They don't like to have players on the roster they can't depend on, and his body lets him down more than his skills. So we'll see. I don't know if he'll be a major contributor like the article says, but he'll be a player that can, give you a good slot mix up. And hopefully the Ravens will allow him to do that. So let me know what you guys think about Camp. I like Camp a lot. I think he's super talented, but you let me know. The next story comes from ESPN, and it talks about, the win projections from Football Outsiders. As you guys know, Football Outsiders projects wins or losses. This is one of ESPN's insider articles, so I don't know if everyone can get this, but they, say what the wins or losses are going to be. And I'll read them for the Baltimore Ravens. It says 8-8, right? And they have us tied with the Bengals, below the Steelers. They think the Steelers are going to go 13-3. I don't think the Steelers are that good to go 13-3. I see like a 12-4, but neither here nor there. I think 8-8 is a little low for the Ravens. When I did my picks for the season, I had 9-7. And if they can win a game that they're not supposed to win, 10-6. And right now, that's where I feel our skill level is. Now, you got a great defense, which will always keep you in games. I'm just worried about the offense, but we'll see what the offense can do. If the offense can perform above their skill set, they can easily surpass 8-8. So thank you guys for staying to the end of the episode. This is the mailbag question of the day. If you want to send questions in, please send them to TheRavensSpace at gmail.com. I'll put the email address in the description so you guys can see it. And please, please, please send your questions. And for the question of today comes from George. And George says, I have a theory and idea, but I like your opinion on it. We have a need at wide receiver. Darren Waller is a former wide receiver who converts to tight end. He is 6'4". He can run a 4.4 40. I think he'd be good to bring him back into the receiver crew. He's worked on his blocking and catching in traffic over the past 2 years. I think he'd make an impact and eventually become a reliable weapon. What is your take on it? Thank you so much for your question, George. I like this because I can answer more questions from you guys, and you guys really help make the show. You guys are the best part of the show to me because it's about the community. First, when you told me that he ran a 4.4, I was like, there's no way Darren Waller runs a 4.4. I knew he was fast coming out, but I was thinking more like 4.5, 4.6, which is fast for a guy his size, right? That's terrific. So I went and looked at his 40 from the combine, and sure enough, he ran a 4.46, right? And I was like, wow. And not only did he run a 4.46, if you go look at the combine tape, guys, he ran a smooth 4.46. Like, it didn't look like he was even trying. And of course he was, but that's just his demeanor. But I mean, it was smooth, and I haven't seen a 40 that smooth. Even, like John Ross, of course, ran super fast, but you can tell that, he was giving it everything he got, right? He was giving it everything he had. But like I said, this guy was running a super smooth 40. It was like the smoothest 40 I've ever seen. And so I was thinking in my head, so if this is his 40, why does he look so slow on the field? Like, when he's on the field, he looks slow, like just everybody's like just faster than him. I think it's because he's not a good route runner, so there might be some doubt in his routes. He's trying to actually hit the point, different things like that. And so I would say that right now, because of his route running. And he's better at tight end. And actually, I think he's more comfortable at tight end than he is receiver. Because when he was at receiver in training camp his first year, he looked awkward. And he doesn't look awkward anymore, especially later in the season last year. And he's actually my dark horse to be one of the starting tight ends on the Ravens. And it's because I think Pitt is getting older. Ben Watson is old already and is coming off an injury. Max Williams can't get it together. Nick Boyle is tougher than he is skilled. And he'll be a better fit at fullback. So I think Darren has a real chance at starting. So I would say don't move him there, but give him a chance at starting at tight end. And he might be the weapon that Joe Flacco needs in the red zone to help out. So, George, thank you so much for your question. I hope I helped you out. Hope you look at my opinion and say, thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. So that's the episode for today. Thank you guys so much. Again, subscribe to the RavensSpace YouTube. Follow us on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Communicate with me there. I'll communicate with you guys. Also, leave a comment below, like this video, and thank you guys so much. Go Ravens.